Hi everyone, Kelvin here from TheKealf Games. Today I'm going to bring you a new demo on a demo to a new game that I've designed called Super Space Bounty Hunter Pursuit. Now this is a solo game. It's a card and dice game with a bit of resource management, and it's a solo game, so you can play this on your own. And it's meant to be a really short game. It's actually spin-off from another game I have that I've designed probably 2 years ago called Super Space Battle Assault Frigate. But this is a downsized version, so you probably can play this in half the time. So the premise of this game, let me just talk about the narrative. The narrative is you're a bounty hunter and you've just found, or rather received, a bounty to destroy a experimental military-grade recon gunship by the government before it reaches the jump gate and travel away into the outer rim where it'll be lost forever, where they won't be able to track it. Who knows? I mean, it might jump to the Durian system or something like that. But anyway, they want you to destroy the ship. So you, as a bounty hunter who's captained the ship called the Pangazou, have just received information on the ship and is making its way to the jump gate. And the jump gate will look like this. This is the jump gate. This is the jump gate card. And you're making pursuit right now, which is hence the name Bounty Hunter Pursuit. Now, this game consists of a movement deck where you will be flipping those cards, which will tell you how far the enemy has moved. And this is meant to be you can use tokens for this game. These are the token setup that I've done so far. If you printed the playmat, you can technically use a pen marker and eraser to, instead of using tokens to mark your shields when you get damaged, you can just, notch that off. Or how many assets you get 2 or 1. You can write that on if you put these cards on a clear sleeve. But I prefer to use tokens. It gives you portability. So to start the game off, I'm just going to go into it on setup. Is you have your enemy ship card, you got your radar zone card, and this here is your ship card with your weapons and your crew actions. Now, you will need to add a token, if you're using tokens, onto the enemy ship, which has shields and hull. Your ship, shields and hull, an extra one for reactor power overload. Because whatever you do on your ship, the reactor will go up. And of course, a little token for your ship. And 3 tokens here for your 3 actions to keep track. So I'm just going to jump straight into how to play the game. So hopefully you guys will have an understanding of how to play it once watching this video. So, but before we start, because we are on the way to on the pursuit, we need to find out we actually have some assets in our ship. So it says to roll D3 dice for each of your assets. So we're just gonna I roll 6 for this one. I roll 4 for shield, and I roll 4 for decoy. So D3 means that will give you 3 units of reactor overload reduction. That one will give you 2. That's a D3 for 2 shields. And this one will give you 2 decoy that you have in your cargo hold at the moment. So if you ran out, don't worry, there's actually a card in the movement deck where you can resupply, but we won't know. That could be the first card, could be the resupply ship, we don't know. So let's start the game. The order of play is actually on the radar zone card. So if it says here, okay, we want to start the game now. So we're going to do first turn. First turn is we got to draw the movement deck. Draw the first card, and once you've drawn that card, it will tell you zone 5. Okay, which means your ship is actually zoned within 5 zones away from the enemy target, which is right here. So that's the distance from your ship to the enemy target. Now, it will tell you then you got to resolve. Usually we got to resolve the what do you call it, the ship the movement card first. So over here it says enemy full power to engines. Enemy recovers one shield or one hull. So that symbol there is a hull symbol. That over there is a shield symbol. Now the enemy unit is full hull and full shield at the moment, but we'll just roll it to, if you ever encounter this card, what you do is you roll the dice. I roll a 3. That means the enemy gains an extra hull, but because it's at full, doesn't matter. So that doesn't work. Which is a good card to draw on the first card. So, the enemy ship don't get any of those bonuses. But next thing is you head to enemy navigational scan. So enemy navigational scan is dictated by these 3 zones, 3 categorized zone here. Zone 1, 2, Zone 3, 4, Zone 5. So if it's Zone 5, the navigational scan was Zone 5. We don't have to roll for that. It just means that the enemy in the symbol here is making evasive maneuvers. So it means it's doing evasive maneuvers, so any attack that you make will be granted a 3+ to evade or counter, as I'll say. So now goes the navigational scan. It's like, Captain, the enemy is doing evasive maneuvers. Okay, so you as a player go to player action. So you get to choose 3 actions every turn. So in this action here is dictated by all these symbols here. You can pick 3 of them. So we're at full shields. We have 4 hull, and we have a reactor overload level 1. Enemy is at zone 5. So we look at our weapons. Obviously, we want to destroy the enemy. Destroy the enemy by once that blue token there, that hull reaches 0 or the last hull's removed, we win the game. So we need to check our weapons, whether we can actually attack or actually shoot the enemy from zone 5. And you can look at all our weapons here. We got a Plaster Blaster, a dart missile, and a laser turret. Now all these are different types of weapons. The Plaster Blaster being LR means long range, it's the longest range. Dart missiles MR is medium range, and the laser is SR short range, which is usually anti-aircraft kind of weapon. But even at zone 5, we can't actually hit the enemy because we need to. Each weapon has a zone, a range where they can fire it. The only weapon that can potentially attack the enemy at the moment is the Plasma Blaster, which needs zone 2 and 4, which we are out as well. We can do nothing if we want to, but I'm just going to show you how we can actually issue commands to bring our ship closer to the enemy, or back away. We can't back away more than 5 zones. So anyway, I'm going to issue all power to engines. That means I get to move 2 zones forward, or 1 zone back, and that will increase my reactor overload by 1. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to move 1 zone forward, or 2 zones. That brings me to zone 3. And the reactor goes up by 1. And I'm going to repair. When you issue the repair command, you can either fix a overload or a shield. In this case, I'm going to repair the overload, bring it back to 1. And I am going to issue another command called divert shields to weapons. So my shields go down by 1 to 4. But the benefit of doing divert shields to weapons is my Plaster Blaster gain an extra attack, and the strength goes up by 6 from 5 to 6, which is pretty good. So usually the Plaster Blaster can only have 1 shot, but because I've divert power switch from the shields to the weapon, which is only 1 weapon you can do, which is nominated the Plaster Blaster, now I get 2 shots and strength 6. Now next is the attack phase. So this is when we start shooting our weapons, which is what we want to do. Now we get 2 shots from the Plasma Blaster for diverting shields to weapons. Now, in order to score a damage on the enemy unit, we have to roll a final strength value equal or more than the enemy defense, which is currently at 9. Okay, so what we need to do is our Plaster Blaster with that special rule there is now strength 6. So we need to roll a dice, a d6. If that dice rolls a 3, so 6 plus 3, that's 9. So that will be equal to the enemy defense, means we'll score 1 damage. So we're going to start rolling. I'm going to roll 2 dice together because we've got 2 shots. So we're going to roll it now. Okay, I roll a 6 and a 2. Now strength 6 and 2 is 8, so that's out of the question. That didn't do anything. Strength 6 plus 6 is 12. That's way beyond the way past the enemy's defense. Now the Plaster Blaster as well. If we divert the shields to weapons, and if you roll a 6, which it says here, if you roll a 6, it ignores. Technically, we have caused 1 damage, but because we roll 6 is an extra bonus. So instead of scoring a damage on the enemy units, because the enemy unit would take damage from the shields first, but because the Plaster Blaster is special, it takes, because rolling a 6 will cause the damage to go through the shield and get the hull. So we score 1 damage on the hull, which is fantastic. That's a good result. So that's what happened. That's the end of the first movement phase. And oh, I forgot. We score 1 hit. The enemy unit get to roll for evasive maneuvers because that's what it's doing. So now the enemy unit takes a dice and needs to roll a 3+. If it rolls 3+, he ignores the damage. Oh, it rolls a 2, means it still goes through, so that stays there. Great. Now I'm gonna go to the next turn, which is Zone 3. Zone 3 means our ship is, it stays at Zone 3. And at Zone 3, if you see the symbol over here, that means the enemy unit is actually making an extra effort because it's in the asteroid to probably hide or evade us in the asteroids. So after moving our little token to our ship at Zone 3, we roll for enemy navigational. We'll roll for enemy navigational. We roll 3. So we're on Zone 3 at the moment. Zone 3, and we roll a 3. So looking at the symbol here, 1 to 3, that means the enemy is going to make 3 shots at us. Oh dear, that's not good. 3 shots at us during the enemy's phase. So we will refresh our action phase, and we have to think. Okay, so now we're gonna look at what actions we gotta do. Now, only weapon that can reach the enemy from Zone 3 is our Plaster Blaster. So I'll show you something quite interesting. If I make an action to go all power to the engines, I can push my ship 1 zone closer to the enemy unit. And by doing that, I increase my reactor by 1. And my next action is to repair, is to push. I'm going to leave that there and push my shields up, repair my shields. Plus, I'm going to do the same thing again and divert power to the from the shields to my weapon system. So I'm going to drain that again. So now at Zone 2, we have plasma blasters within range 2 to 4. And guess what? Our dart missiles are within range 1 to 2. So we can fire 2 types of weapons at the enemy unit. Now, that means I'll use red for my Plaster Blaster, which is two attacks. Now the dart missiles come with 2 attacks itself, so that's 2. And because, again, the same thing as before, that's now strength 6. Dart missiles are strength 5. I'm going to start shooting them with, for the sake of for this demo, we're going to speed it up by rolling all 3 dices together. Oh, that's fantastic. 2 hits using the Plaster Blaster, and guess what? 2 hits as well using the dart missiles. 5 plus 5 is 10. 5 plus 6 is 11. Way past the defense of 9. But the enemy unit has a evasive maneuvers on us. So for the missiles, and this particular, because this is special, because I've rolled a 6 for one of the Plaster Blasters, that stays there. So all these 3 I'm going to roll. If it rolls a 3+, it avoids. So 2 shots didn't make it through. 1 shot did. It takes 1 shield down. It takes 1 damage. But now this one is the one that goes through the shield. Let's see. It counters it as well. It has evasive move. So I didn't get to score any damage except 1 damage on the shield out of 4 shots. So that is kind of what the game is like. Now the enemy unit is going to shoot us 3 times now at zone 3. No, zone 2, sorry. No, it was zone 3 initially. So it's going to 3 shots at 3+. That means you take 3 dice. It's going to fire 3 times at us. And it scores 3+, 1, 2, 3 hits on our ship. So when that happens, you take 1, 2, 3 shots. So we have 1 shield left. Now, at this time, you go like, oh dear, this is really bad. Now guess what? I'm gonna show you how to use the assets. Now, for this demo, we have 2 shields here. So I can spend 2 shields, take that away, and get back my 2 shields. 1, 2. That's how you do it. These assets can be played anytime during the game, except for the decoy. You can only play once per movement. Reactor overload, I'm going to play 1, so just going to bring it down just in case. And that's the end of the second turn. Okay, I'm going to show you another one. Okay, the next turn is, we're still in zone 2. Zone 2. So the enemy unit is in zone 2, and at this particular one, it shows you minefield. Now what happens here is my ship suffers 2 hits from the mines. Now over here it says I could play a decoy. If I play 1 decoy, I can ignore the 2 hits. Or, well, we can't use because if this is in zone 1, we can actually use our laser turrets like anti-aircraft to shoot down. No, we can't. Sorry, that's the drone. Sorry. So we can only use decoys for the mines. Just for example, let's see. I'm gonna show you if it is. No, let's just play through this card to show you what I mean. So I'm going to use 1 decoy, and I will ignore that field effect, and we'll just concentrate on the enemy. We will just go straight to enemy navigational. 5, zone 1 and 2, 5. So which means if you roll a 5, the enemy will repair its shield. 1 shield during the enemy phase. So you wait until you attack, then the enemy will repair its shields. So at zone 2, we can also still fire our Plaster Blaster and our dart missiles, which I will do right. I will issue the commands first. We don't need 2 full powered engines. I'll just do repair and get 1 shield back. You know what? I'm just going to divert my power to the shields. Oop. And then gain 2 attacks on my Plasma Blaster. And, all power to shield, which will bring that up. Get my shield back up. So, again, these dotted lines here, whatever commands you issue here will cause the reactor to go up. And over here it says -1 means -1 to shield, +1 is +1 to reactor. It says +1 to shield or minus. These are the symbols that will keep you track on what you can and can't do. So anyway, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna fire all our weapons, the missiles, and the Plaster Blaster. Oop, I got 2 damage. The missiles, however, 5 + 3 is 8, 5 + 1 is 6. No, nothing there. So I scored 2 damage on the enemy unit. So that's 1, 2. Okay. Now the enemy phase is 5. That means it's going to repair 1 shield. So it brings shield back up to 1. There we go. So the game will go on until you... This is, I mean, for the sake of this demo, I think we're going to stop this. We're going to go out of time soon. So we're going to stop it now here. So it will go on. You will keep on drawing cards until you are able to deplete the enemy's hull. Then you win the game. And obviously, there'll be certain cards which will tell you, like, if, for example, this particular one, space anomaly. That means it will cause your ship to have a reactor overload by 1, and you can't use your short range or long range missiles. So there are things like that will happen. So these movement cards will cause issues. There's times when enemy unit's gonna send drones at you. The gunship, this recon gunship, can shoot drones, where you got to deal with drones, which you can shoot down if you're within range. And oh, that's the supply ship. When you reach the supply ship, you get to roll 2 dice. So you roll your first dice, and if you roll a 1, you match that there. You roll another dice, you roll another 1, you match that there. So which means you get 3 shields twice, so you get 6 shields. So that's, well, that's 6. 6 and 1. Or you can immediately just take that, take that shield there, so we don't, And this is the only time, if you roll a 3, you can get a hull. And you realize your ship starts at hull 4, so you can get hull, hull 5. Well, any extra hull is removed, is discarded. That could help you in a pinch when you are really suffering from damage. So we'll just go through some of the cards that are unique. Oh, this enemy is doing some strategy on you, where you can only issue 2 actions. Drone strikes. There's 20 of these cards to go through. All of them are bad. You must have noticed that. So what you could do is, each of these actions will cause, a chain reaction to other things that will happen, like overload. So you got to manage your reactor overload and your shields, obviously, so you don't get killed in the process. If your hull goes to 0, game ends. And by any chance, if the enemy reaches the last card, which is, the jump gate, the enemy has 1 last chance to get something. I roll a 4 at the start of the game, so 4, that means the enemy +1 to its shields, and on top of that he has navigational scan. It's funny, isn't it, how you know what the enemy is doing, as if in those science fiction shows. And Captain, the enemy is charging weapons. How would you know that? But that's what happens, so so you got to prepare for it. You can do evasive maneuvers and all that kind of stuff. So if you do not manage to destroy the enemy ship by the end of this last card, you lose the game. Now, well, that is a quick, or rather really brief demo on how to play Super Space Bounty Hunter Pursuit. I want to thank everyone again for checking this video out. I want to thank everyone who has played my games. And the reason I keep making games is because everyone enjoys playing these games. So if you like this video, you can give me a thumbs up, or if you can also support me in buying me a coffee. The link is in the description. And if you want to play this game, the link is also in the description below. And I think I will end the demo here. I've got nothing much to say. I hope you enjoy this game. This is hopefully a quick 20-15 minute game that you guys can put yourself as a captain of a space bounty hunter. So yeah, what are you waiting for? Go play.